Alright, what's going on, y'all? We're back, and we're definitely shifting gears here, completely from football for once, at least for the time being anyway, and we're going to focus on basketball because, yeah, as you're seeing here, we're talking about my man Devin Booker here. I definitely find this significant. I do have Arizona ties. My mom pretty much has resigned herself to being an Arizona person, and it wouldn't be appropriate if I didn't do at least one of these, only she's not going to be happy with the context of what I'm about to talk about here because, yeah, it's not good, especially given the fact that last night the Phoenix Suns got swept out of the first round by the Minnesota Timberwolves, who, I gotta call it for what it is right now, and I'm likely going to do a video about this maybe tomorrow morning or possibly later today, depends on how things are going. But this is tough, man. I don't know any other way to look at this. This is really tough because you felt like, having gotten to the finals a few years ago, that things were going the right direction for this team, but then it didn't. Following year, getting just absolutely dismantled in Game 7 of the Western Semis by the Dallas Mavericks. At the Footprint Center, by the way, mind you. I'll remind y'all. At Footprint. They just got disposed of, just done away with, like I just did away with this picture here. I was going to keep that up the whole way through because, this is kind of focused largely on Devin Booker. But, they tried to make moves. They brought in KD to try to add to him and Chris Paul. That didn't really work out. DeAndre Ayton just didn't really amount to being the #1 overall pick that, a lot of fans at the time, remember, I was out there for a lot of this. It's just crazy to think about this because there was actual excitement going into that draft that year, especially with Ayton being the odds-on favorite to be the #1 pick, which he was. And it was fitting that he was going to the University of Arizona at the time. But, we all know the details of everything that happened with that situation. And just the way that, he just did everything he could to absolutely not work out with the Suns. It's just insane to think about. And then, of course, there were the moves that were made to get Chris Paul out of there, bring in a Bradley Beal. Again, thing with the pictures, I don't know what it is. Happened in the Broncos Talk video. Don't know why it's happening here, but probably won't be an issue the next time I do another video. But, it's now a point to where you're not going to keep all three of them there if you're Phoenix. Not if you have any hope of putting together a winning product. And here's another thought to that, is that product going to include a Devin Booker? I'm getting to a point to where I'm starting to think that's getting less and less likely as time passes. And, I'm over here. I will point out that an initial inspiration for me doing what I do with this year was the fact that, especially around this time of the morning, I'd be watching ESPN's First Take, reacting to a lot of what they're saying there. I actually caught a little bit of it this morning. Shannon, Stephen A. Smith, and I want to say Monica McNutt, they were talking about it with the Suns getting swept. And, of course, Stephen A., being the Knicks fan that he is, he just couldn't help himself by bringing it up. He talks about how he hears around the way, and I'm sure he has his reliable sources, but he talks about how he hears Devin Booker wants to be a New York Knick. Okay, whatever. I'm just going to scoff at that just for the fact that, not even so much that I'm a Bulls fan, but I really feel like, and I would like to try to speak this into existence, if the Bulls could actually get Zach Edey and they find a way to get Devin Booker in the fold, get a couple other pieces along the way, I mean, you got one of the surprises waiting to happen in the league there with that, but that's just me. But honestly, the Knicks do, in all actuality, make all the logical sense in the world. Especially for a guy like Booker. You got, obviously, Jalen Brunson, who, he gets MVP chance. That's all that needs to be said about that. More than that, of course, you got the rest of the crew that's come together with Tom Thibodeau, who I have a great deal of familiarity with being a Bulls fan. I mean, basically the way everything is shaping out in New York is what I wish we would have seen with the Bulls. While he was there, while Derrick Rose was there, while Jimmy Butler was there, amongst so many others. But the problem was, so was Gar Foreman and John Paxson, but I'm not going to go wasting time burying them about it. What I will say, however, is, regardless of wherever it is he winds up going next, it's gotten to a point to where he's going to be somewhere next, inevitably. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But in the long run, what I will say is that there is actually still hope for Phoenix Suns fans, and unfortunately, again, it's just going to have to go back to where they're just going to need to move Durant. Honestly, I'm moving Bradley Beal as well. I don't see a scenario where that was beneficial. I mean, you got guys like Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and I'm wanting to say a couple of others who, at least at this point, are doing well in Brooklyn. No, they didn't make the playoffs, but they're a young team, so they're going to be building over the next couple of years, but they're going to wind up being one of the surprises of the league. They're going to actually be what we're seeing out of a Minnesota and an OKC right now, because that's the kind of talent that they have, and they can only go up from here on that. But now it's going to be incumbent on James Johnson in that front office, along with Frank Vogel, to actually get the kind of pieces that were conducive to actually getting them to the finals those few years ago and actually putting on a championship-worthy product. And right now, this ain't it. And this hadn't been it for the last couple of years, but who knows? I mean, they even moved on from Chris Paul, obviously, as I mentioned, so, it's hard to say what's going to work. And, again, if I'm Devin Booker, I'm not going to be standing for this too much longer, and it's only a matter of time before he's gone. So that's really all I'm going to say on that. I didn't want to put too much time on that, just given all the hiccups I had with the previous video. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. Y'all think Booker is going to stick around with the Suns? Do you see him elsewhere? I mean, let me know, and then y'all know what it is. Hit that like, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all.